ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. Welcome to the Roundtable, everybody. My name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network. You're watching us on Broadway World. It's a lunchtime in the fifth grade. You know, we're here in the fifth grade in New Jersey. We're in a classroom that has just been occupied by a whole bunch of kids who are trying to get through reading books. They're looking for new material. They're looking for something that speaks to them, and representation and fantasy and seeing yourself depicted in pages is so incredibly important. You know, we need that in the world. So how excited am I to talk about Blood at the Root? LaDarrion Williams, welcome to the show. You're here.
Thank you.
You're fascinating to me because researching about you, I mean, you have Gabrielle Union tweeting about you. You're speaking at, HBCU colleges and universities talking about this book, but you kind of started this as like a social media explosion. How did this idea come to you?
Yeah. So Blood at the Root was not intended to be a novel. It was supposed to be a TV show. And, during the pandemic, we're on Twitter, we're just talking-ish all on social media. And so I just randomly tweeted one day. I was like, what if Harry Potter went to an HBCU in the South? And the tweet kind of blew up a little bit and people were like, oh my gosh, you got to make that. That's something we always wanted to see. And I'm like, we're in the middle of the lockdown. I can't make anything right now. But I saw that there was a need for it. So I put pen to paper. And so I wrote the first draft of a TV pilot. And for those who don't know, a TV pilot is kind of like a script that showcases like the first episode of a TV show. And I was like, okay, cool. I have this. And I kept tweeting about it and showing the journey of writing the TV pilot. And people are like, yo, you really have to make this into like a short film or something. And I was like, I don't have the money. It's the middle of the pandemic. We could barely get, sanitizer and toilet paper. So how can I make a short film? And that's when people started like kind of donating and sending money to like my Cash Apps and Venmo. And one person sent like $1,000 from like New Zealand. And I was like, oh, okay. I guess we're going to make a film. And so I got my friends together on a Zoom. I was like, hey, I know it's the middle of the lockdown. It's October 2020. Can we go out and make a film? And all my friends, part of my tribe, they were like, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So we shot the film all over LA. We snuck onto the UCLA campus. So sorry, UCLA. And shot like the college scenes. And we got to really create something very special, very, very special. And I knew that it was special because the conversations that we were having, and I think people saw the idea go from an idea to like a short film, and now people are seeing it go from a short film to a book. And so that's how I kind of like came up with the idea of Blood at the Root.
Well, the short film you can see it on YouTube and Amazon Prime. And then before we get ahead of ourselves, I just want people to know that May 7th,
yes,
Blood at the Root, the novel is out.
Yes.
Magic comes with a price. It always comes with a price.
It always, yes. That's the beauty of magic, right? It's fun until you cast a spell that you shouldn't be casting. So
I'm ready. My brother, who is the most boring, basic white person in the world, he is obsessed with fantasy novels. He reads them, Friday night when people are out at the club, my brother is home being a book nerd, reading a book.
Yeah.
And I sent him this press release and he was like, I pre-ordered it on Amazon because this is not for anybody, but what it is for too, is that there are people of color who, LaDarrion, they never see themselves depicted on screen as superheroes. There is no Harry Potter for them. There is no Lord of the Rings character for them.
Exactly.
And there's such a gigantic audience for it. How does it feel for you to be, why doesn't the marketplace do more? There's an audience for this.
I think that's the $30 billion question, because apparently Hollywood Reporter just came out with an article saying that Hollywood loses out on $30 billion. I don't know if it's a year or quarterly, or however that works, because they don't produce Black or POC or like just different type of work. So I don't get it, because I thought the only color that Hollywood sees is green. So I don't understand. I don't know. I think the fantasy genre it's been locked down for so long because we all know Tolkien, we all know like Chronicles of Narnia, like we all grew up on it and we all love
Mhm.
it. But I think there's just different types of fantasy and there's different type of mythologies that are so cool and that needs to be explored. I know a lot of West African mythology is starting to be explored, but there's also mythology like I would love to see more Native American mythology, more Aztec mythology, and even like down to the South. Like I'm from the South, and we have a lot of folklore that is so cool and that is real, like that should be explored, like the Rougarous, like the Louisiana werewolves, like the witches and the vampires. We have so much, and I think I don't know. I don't understand why because it's as a creative and specifically as a Black creative, we're seeing constantly on social media like we want more of this, we want more Black fantasy, Black sci-fi. Why are nobody writing it? And it's like, yo, we are writing it. We need the money, we need the funding, we need the access. That's the conversation that's not being had, and we're showing this to executives in Hollywood. Like people want this. If you want to create a product, if you want to make money from it, I just don't. I as a business person, I don't understand why you're not making the product when people are constantly demanding for it. So I really can't give you that answer because I don't know. We're out here making them, and
You are.
so yeah.
Well, wherever books are sold, May 7th, make sure you pre-order it. And then if we could follow your journey, of course, we could follow you on Instagram. It's
Yes.
at LaDarrion, and the link is below us if you're listening to us on the podcast. We are talking about, you went and you spoke, you spoke the other day at Morehouse College. What was it like to be able to be at this historic, legendary school? And you're a published author. Like you have a novel.
Yeah,
And a 3-book deal, y'all.
3. Listen, I'm working on book 2 now, and it's due. Like I don't know when it's due, but it's gonna be due soon. But it was so amazing. It was bittersweet for me because I didn't go to an HBCU. I did 2 years at a PWI, and I dropped out. I was a theater major there, so theater is my love. That's my first love. I love theater, and the only role I got at the college was a slave in Huckleberry Finn, Big River. But we're healed. We're healed. So I dropped out and walking the same road, the pavement that Martin Luther King Jr. walked, that Spike Lee and so many iconic men, especially Black men who walked that campus. It was bittersweet because I was just like, I really missed out. I regret it. I regret not going to an HBCU because I feel like I would have been a different person, but also, there was a reason why I didn't get to go to college or finish college because it brought me out to LA. Like, I dropped out. I went back home for a little bit back in Alabama and worked at Taco Bell. And then I bought a one-way ticket to LA and I made my dreams come true. So, but just going back, it was really cool. Morehouse, the students there were very welcoming. And to write about a HBCU, a magical HBCU, and actually be on a campus of an HBCU, I was just so inspired. I felt renewed, and I was just really grateful. And I kept telling them like, this is such a gift because I think that regret kind of like subsided a little bit because I'm just like, okay, like as long as I have HBCUs on my side to really support the book, like it's really great. So yeah, it was amazing. It was so inspiring.
Hasn't it's sinking in for me. I don't even know what it must feel like for you.
Yeah.
From Alabama, go to LA. You are a playwright and co-creator of the Black Creators Collective. You have plays that have made premieres and did things in North Hollywood and around the West Coast.
Yeah.
But like the dream is always to make something wide, to make something available, to make something that people can see. If it's film, if it's theater or literature.
Mm-hmm.
You actually did it. Like you left Alabama, you went to California, and you're not just there, you're couch surfing. You've got a major project published by a major house ready to go.
Yeah, it's so amazing because May 9th, I moved out here May 9th, 2015. So it's about to be 9 years. So when they say it takes 10 years for you to make it, I wish that was true, but I wish it wasn't because, because it's like 9 years is a long time. I was out here hustling, and a lot of when you think about like playwrights, you don't think like, why, if you're a playwright, why would you move to LA? Well, one, I wanted to be a TV writer and a playwright, and an author that just came later. I was out here hustling. I'm gonna be honest, LA don't make it easy for playwrights out here, especially if you don't have a big name. So I had to go against the grain a little bit. I had to rent out theaters by myself. I had to work dead end jobs just to rent out a theater, like with basic lighting. I couldn't afford a light technician. I couldn't afford a stage manager, so I had to be the stage manager. I had to print out the scripts and get the highlighters for actors. I had to assemble a team, and all of that prepared me for now. Like I at the time I was just like, man, nobody's showing up. I'm not like, I can't get theaters to look at my name or read my plays. Why am I doing this? I don't understand it. And I was having family at the same time and friends like, yo, like, why are you doing this back home? And so I was just like, I see the vision, but it was frustrating. All these 9 years just trying to get, in the writer's room. I to this day, I still couldn't get it. I can't get in a writer's room. Hollywood is it's a lot going on. We're still recovering from the strike. But I was just, it really messed up my mental health of all these years. Because I was like, I love television. I'm devoting so much of my time to it, and I can't even get I can't even get a writer's assistant, so I had to go a different path. I love Ava DuVernay. And there was one interview, and I will never forget this interview. She said, we have to stop working from a permission-based place, because I was asking for permission to do my plays. I was asking permission to, write screenplays. And I'm just like, LaDarrion, you have actors, you have people who have cameras. Just go rent out a theater, go do it yourself, go shoot a short film. If you have to work, I was doing Uber and Lyft at the same time. I was working 17, 18 hours a day just to pay for everything by myself. So because Ava DuVernay said that, and I was just like, Ava, you're right, because I've been asking for permission. And I think once I took that approach, that mentality, it's crazy. Like doors started opening. I started getting like playwriting residencies, and my short films started going viral. I just couldn't work from a permission-based place anymore. So I think that's what set me up for what's happening now.
You know what's amazing? I think it's the trick. I hated that advice when I was, trying to be an artist. Mm-hmm. I'm a director for young artists here in Newark, New Jersey. And they always ask me, oh, how do you get started? Make your own content, make your own projects, be your own yes, don't wait for permission. And it's not the easiest answer, because we want to go on an audition, we want to have a meeting, we want to have a multi-film deal, we want to be a regular on a TV series.
Yeah.
But sometimes you got to sit in front of that document on your computer and write your own damn project. And
yes, you have to, like you said, like with clubbing and everything, my friends were going out and I was just like, they were like, would you want to go? I'm like, no, I gotta write this play. And at the time, it was frustrating, because I was like, why am I spending, I would go to work in the morning or during the daytime, and then I would write till like probably 3 or 4 in the morning. Especially when I was at Taco Bell, I would work from 3 p.m. to like 1 in the morning. I would get off and work on my scripts, because again, I didn't have the resources, especially being in a small town in Alabama. Like, I didn't have the resources that I have out here in LA. I couldn't go to the WGA. I couldn't go to the Dramatists Guild and just read scripts or get that access, right? So I had to build that access for myself. And so I brought that to LA. I brought that spirit of it. And I tell young artists now, like, please produce your own content. Like, don't be afraid to do it. Because if you're going to be, unfortunately, if you're going to wait on these theaters, if you're going to wait on publishers sometimes or Hollywood, you're going to be waiting a very, very long time. And people who've been in this business for 20 something years are still waiting. And so I just said, you know what, let's just go out and make our own.
And you did. And now wait, watch what's going to happen. This book is going to come out. It's going to blow up. The films, the TV series, it's all going to happen. You all better be, we're on the ground floor. And a year from now, he'll be like, Roundtable, what? Who is this person? Where are you? No, that's what we want. Come on, we want it. We're here for it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate this, because like a year ago, I couldn't get anyone to interview me. But the fact that you're doing this and you're setting time out of your schedule to do this, for me to talk about my book, it means a lot.
We're honored because I see it with my students. It's hard to get 10-year-olds to read. We're a school district 93% economically disadvantaged. They're all first-generation Americans here in North Bergen. They read books and novels and about American history. They don't see themselves. They don't have a place in it. Can you explain what the book is about? You go to the YA section of the Barnes & Noble. There's no book like this. So can you tell us what the book's about?
Of course, yeah. So Blood at the Root is a young adult fantasy novel. It is about a Black kid named Malik Barron who gets accepted into a magical HBCU called Cayman University. And, he must go there to learn about his ancestral magic, also uncover some dark secrets because apparently his mom went there and she never told him. And now she's been missing for quite some time. And now he has to investigate some people at the school because they may or may not have something to do with her mysterious disappearance. So that's what the book is about. Like it's fun. It's set in a magical HBCU. So yes, there's going to be spell casting and magical dodgeball that we may or may not time travel. It's really cool and it's really exciting that's why I wrote it. And the fact that you said about Barnes & Noble not seeing a book like this, I went to Barnes & Noble and this was like 2019, like I think December or January 2020. I asked the clerk, I was like, hey, because I fell out of love with reading. And just for people to know, I'm going to age myself, but when I was coming up in high school, Twilight was really huge. You remember that era where you
sure do.
Like when the movie came out, you had to go it was like Thursday night at 12 a.m. to get the movie premiere.
Yes.
I remember that. I remember Hunger Games and the Percy Jackson. When I was in high school, there was 3 books. Apparently there's like 15, 16 books now in the series.
Right. Yes.
Rick, you've been writing, Mr. Ryan. And I remember those. And I remember growing up and being like, man, I want to be like Percy Jackson. Man, I didn't want to be like a vampire. I wanted to sparkle and I wanted to run really fast. And we all did. So, and, Harry Potter was kind of ending, it was kind of like the ending of that era. And so I connected to those characters, but I just didn't feel seen by those characters. And so I fell out of love with reading for years. And so when I went back to Barnes & Noble here in Burbank, I said, hey, I talked to the clerk and I said, hey, I'm looking for some young adult fantasy books, but I want to see a Black boy on the cover. And this was during the time of the civil unrest. It was a lot of protesting. So I wanted to escape from racism and police brutality. I just wanted to live in a fantasy world. I wanted to see somebody like me ride dragons and I don't know, and burn down a whole King's Landing because I want to see that, and we walked over to the young adult fantasy section and she looked up and down and I looked up and down. She grabbed a couple of books. I was like, no, I just want to escape. I don't want to read anything about racism or police brutality right now. And we looked for a good solid 2 minutes and she took a step back and I took a step back and she looked at me and she was so embarrassed. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, we don't have anything. She's like, I never, as a book person, she was like, I never noticed there's not a lot of books with Black boys on the main cover in the young adult fantasy section. And that's when I realized I had to go turn this into not only a TV show, but a book. Because the TV show, it kept getting, even though it went viral and everybody was loving it, Hollywood did not come calling. Because I thought they did. I had the viral script, I had the viral short film, and they did not come calling. So I had to turn it into a book. But then at the same time, I was like, I don't know, because publishing, obviously they have something against Black boys in young adult fantasy. I don't understand what it is unless they're only there to be the sidekick to help the white main character push their story forward, or they're there to be killed. And I was just like, I'm tired of seeing that. I'm so sick of it. So I had to turn it into a book. So I locked myself in my apartment for 12 days. And I wrote the first draft of Blood at the Root. And I was like, oh, I have a book. This is okay. I want to self-publish this, I guess, because I can't go the traditional route because they're not going to want this book. This book is Black. It's magical. It's a Black boy who doesn't deal with any racial trauma or police brutality. It's just about him coming to terms with his magic. And yes, he's going to go through hardships, of course. Yes, but that's not going to be the focal point. Racism is not going to be the focal point of his story. And with self-publishing, you got to pay for everything. And at that point, I was tapped out. From the short film, I was tapped out. I was like, I can't sacrifice my rent anymore. I can't. And at the time, there were sometimes I was not home. I didn't have a stable place to live. And I was sleeping in my car doing Uber and just trying to make it out here in LA. I was like, I can't do that anymore. And so, but I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to just work 23 hours out of the day, just sleep 1 hour and just pay for it. And my friend convinced me to traditionally publish it because she worked in publishing, and she was like, "LaDarrion, we really need this story." And I was like, "No, I'm done. No, I can't. I want to self-publish it." She eventually convinced me, but I was like, I'll submit to some agents and we'll see. So I submitted. We were getting rejections left and right, and I was being petty. So I was like, see, I told you, because the type of stuff, we love the story, we love the concept, but we can't connect to the voice. We can't connect to the main character. We don't find this marketable. The same thing that Hollywood was telling me, the Hollywood executives. We love this concept, but we don't find the character, we don't connect to him. And we all know that's a dogwood. We all know what that means. But eventually I signed with an agent and we worked on it really hard. And, when you go on submission, you have to overcome another hurdle, which is to sell the book. So we went on submission September 19th, 2022. And I was getting I think the first hour, I think I got 2 rejection emails from him saying it's not marketable. We can't connect to the main voice of the character. And so I was just like, here we go. So a few months down the road, I was in Chicago developing a play of mine. And I got a call from my agent saying we got one offer, but when you get one offer, you have to go to everybody else and wait on them. So that was literally 3 weeks of waiting and people configuring their offers. And when I was back in LA, January 19th, 2023, I was doing Uber downtown LA. My agent called me and he never calls. And I was like, okay, let me dodge traffic. And I was like, let me dodge traffic and go over to the side of the road. And that's what he told me. I answered the phone. He told me, he said, hey, LaDarrion, we sold Blood at the Root in a 3-book deal to Penguin Random House. And here we are. We're 10 days away from it hitting bookshelves. So that's kind of the journey.
This is the craziest, most inspiring story. And now you got to be a part of the movement. May 7th, wherever books are sold, and follow for more. Ubering, Taco Bell, Alabama. 3-book deal, Random House, Penguin Books. Come on, people. I have the nerdiest, beautiful man of color in my house, and he is obsessed with the Harry Potters and the Lord of the Rings. And when he forces me to watch them, I
mean, Lord of the Rings is tough. It's tough to get through sometimes.
Long. We have conversations about the love of sci-fi, the love of Star Wars and Star Trek, and all of this fantasy that does not exist for people to see, and now it does. And I can't wait for the midnight release parties, back in the Harry Potter days, for your book when number 2 comes out. I can't congratulate you enough. Thank you for doing what you did and putting the pen to paper and the typing to the Word document and the print to press and making this for audiences everywhere.
No problem. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm just glad that I fought through it. I fought through the rejection. I fought through the storm because I saw it. The cloud, there was a cloud of self-doubt all the time. But I was like, as long as I see it, I saw it before. The clouds will part. I just have to keep going and keep trying. I tell people that I know it's cliche to say, but no, seriously, if you believe in something strong enough, you will see it. I always remember that quote from Sister Act 2, where Whoopi Goldberg told Lauryn Hill's character, if you wake up thinking about being a singer, if you go about your day thinking about being a singer, if you go to bed thinking about being a singer, then you're a singer. So that's how it is with all art form. Just you got to keep putting a lot of work into it and to keep dreaming. So yeah, that's my spiel on that.
And that's it. And that's why you're my kind of person, because even that reference, we must be the same age.
Listen, Sister Act is we love those movies.
We're going to go get the kids. I'm going to go get the 5th grade. We're going to have copies of your book in this classroom. We already ordered them on Amazon, and we're ready for you should introduce a whole new generation of readers. Thank you for what you did. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You can hear the noise, which means we're back. The kids are back. We'll be reading and see, welcome to 5th grade. Thank you for being here. And this is the Round Table. My name is Robert Bannon. Follow us at Robert M. Bannon on Instagram or go to robertbannon.com. And I'll see you again next time.